Alright, you nosy bag of busybodies. On today's video, we're going to give you guys an update on the decision that me and Katie made to relocate. We're finally moving. After 3 years in Lakewood Ranch, we have decided it's time for us to move. About 3 years ago, when Hurricane Ian hit Fort Myers, me and my wife, Catherine the Great, decided that we did not want to stay in Fort Myers. We had been living there for a year and a half, and we remember that Hurricane Irma in Naples was a nightmare aftermath, and honestly, we had been over with hurricanes for a while, so we decided to move to Lakewood Ranch, a suburb of Sarasota and Bradenton. That decision was an absolutely pointless one. We had simply decided to move here because it was the closest beach town that had not been affected by that hurricane. There was no real desire for us to live in Lakewood Ranch. In fact, even though we had done videos here in the past, it really wasn't a place we were attracted to. It's just worked out that Hurricane Ian was the final drop in the bucket for us to decide to leave the Fort Myers area, and this was the closest place we could move to where we found a place to rent. As you guys know, we were supposed to live 1 year in one city and then move to the next so that we could cover more territory for our YouTube channel. Unfortunately, that's not how things worked out for our subscriber base because we continued to stay in Lakewood Ranch. In fact, we got more comfortable in Lakewood Ranch than we were before, moving into an even larger apartment with a larger freaking rent bill every month. And things got seriously complicated for us because while living in Lakewood Ranch, we ran out of money. The money that we were living on and growing our YouTube channel with was the money from our home sale in Alabama. We had moved back after COVID and we just couldn't buy anything with $140,000 cash. And in fact, it was kind of a blessing that we didn't buy anything in Fort Myers when we moved back because everything that we were looking at to buy was literally wiped off the map by Hurricane Ian. So it would have been better for us to blow the money traveling and growing our YouTube channel than it had been for us to have to buy real estate with the little money we had in Fort Myers. Looking back on it now, it was kind of the best thing for us not to buy real estate. At the time, our YouTube channel was only bringing in about 2 bands a month, and now we're making significantly more than that, thanks to the fact that we grew our YouTube channel by traveling across America. But renting doesn't come without stresses. We ended up in a nightmare situation where I got hurt in Panama City Beach, and after a failed back surgery, I ended up disabled and in a wheelchair. For 6 months, I was in a walker, and during that time period, we absolutely depleted our savings and racked up a huge credit card debt. After that, we were both in the hospital quite a bit for different health complications that we're going to keep private, and it really turned into a nightmare. Our life that we had created in Lakewood Ranch had literally crumbled around us, and I was finding myself having to Uber drive at the end of the month just to put food on the table. Things really got difficult for us. The icing on the cake, a letter from our rental company letting us know that when we went to renew our lease, our rent would go up. And on top of that, we racked up a huge debt to the IRS because in the previous year, before I got hurt, I had been making a lot of money. But now I was stuck with a tax bill from the previous year that I thought I could have covered if things were doing well. But as our economical conditions spiraled out of control, our savings got depleted, we got in debt. On top of that, now we got the IRS breathing down our necks. At this point, we're really looking to relocate somewhere in Florida. We looked at properties in Miami, Orlando. We focused heavily on Tampa and Southwest Florida, but the prices didn't add up. Now, while Uber driving isn't like the main thing that I do right now, it does make me about $2,000 a month. So it made sense that we would want to live in an area where the Uber pay rate on a monthly basis would equate roughly to our rent. In other words, I want to be able to comfortably, without interfering with my schedule, make enough money on Uber to pay my rent. And that became increasingly challenging, narrowing down our search to just a few places where I could comfortably make enough money to pay the rent with Uber. We had to narrow our search down to just a few areas where I could easily make enough money to live comfortably without having to fight for the competitive labor force of some cities like Miami, Fort Myers, places where it doesn't matter how hard you work, it's never enough. I'm not embarrassed to say that I Uber drive. There's police officers, teachers, and real estate agents right now that don't have any other choice. When nothing else is working at the moment, you do what you can, and sometimes gig work is the only way people can make it from one paycheck to the next. It's the reality of life in the United States right now. I'd rather be an Uber driver struggling to make an honest living than a lawyer ripping people off and stealing from other people and lying and cheating my way to millions. I would rather earn an honest living, and at the moment, this is the only way I can provide for my family. I can't go work 9 to 5 because at the end of the day, what I make on YouTube is more than what I would working for somebody else. And I got responsibilities, health complications that we both have to deal with. So I can't go work 40 hours a week on a schedule for somebody because one, it's not going to be enough. And two, even if it was enough, we're not able to do it. So I got to have realistic expectations for what my life can be with the circumstances that I have. For the people that say get a real job, I made more money on YouTube and Uber last year than a lot of you guys do with a quote-unquote career, over $100,000. Life is not easy right now. This isn't Sarasota Tim. I'm not going to put my dirty laundry on the internet, but life gets real. Please believe we have challenges. I'm not going to make a soap opera about my life and put it on YouTube like a lot of these clowns are doing right now just to get clickbait and drama. But crap is real. Things are difficult, and we have managed to keep our privacy in the best ways possible despite many health challenges and many economical complications. We are still going strong. There's been times where somebody will make a donation to our YouTube channel, and that will be the gas money to get us going again for another trip or another day of life. Despite the hardships, we've learned to keep our dignity first, just keep looking forward, pushing hard to reach our goals. Things like buying a house are not realistic for us right now. If we can just have the bills paid and have a decent place to live, we should be happy. The good news is that we did find a place in Lakewood Ranch that will save us nearly $700 on a monthly basis. As you guys know, this community has been incredible towards me and towards Katie. We have really been kind of wrapped with love here. Everybody loves us. It's just everywhere we go, we get love. We have friends in the community now that we've made up here. And honestly, despite the fact that all our family and like lifelong associates are down in Fort Myers, this is home. One of the biggest problems that I have living in Lakewood Ranch is that it's a vast suburban crap hole. The good thing is that 15 minutes away is this little hood called Onico, and we come out here to get our groceries and affordable Latin food. Lakewood Ranch is a suburban crap hole, and we find ourselves commuting into Bradenton, Onico, or Sarasota for authentic things to do, or even as far away as Tampa. Lakewood Ranch is not only suburban, which means that the things that exist here is not our palate, but on top of that, it's extraordinarily expensive. Every other restaurant here is a sushi place, a Japanese place, or a freaking steakhouse, and that is not within our budget. We're in Lakewood Ranch for safety and affordability for the particular type of housing that we need. And this is a little complicated. A lot of people think Lakewood Ranch is just a bunch of rich snobs, but it really isn't. Why would I rent an apartment in a horrible, depleted, dangerous area for $1,600 with only $200 or $300 more a month? I can live in a very safe community. Is the things in Lakewood Ranch the things we like to do? Absolutely not. Like I said, here we are in Onico. We go to the hood, and this is where we do our grocery shopping, where we get our tacos and all of our Latin food. And Bradenton doesn't have that infusion of Latin culture like you have in Tampa or Miami, but it's enough to get us by. Like, I really pleaded with Katie that we could move to Onico or somewhere that's really hood to lower our rent costs and be closer to the things we like, but she will not live in this type of neighborhood, and she wants to live in a safe area, so we're stuck with living in Lakewood Ranch, and it really isn't a bad thing. For me, the worst part about living in Lakewood Ranch is the lack of authentic Latin cuisine. And keep in mind that I am from the Caribbean, and the Latin cuisine here in Bradenton is mostly like Honduran, Salvadorian, a little bit of Mexican. It isn't the cuisine that I'm used to, but we've made the best of what we have here, and little by little we're getting used to the more Central American Latin food. The prices are good, the food tastes great. It's a little spicier than we're used to, but we're making the best of it. For one, it's extraordinarily affordable, and that's a good thing because we eat out a lot. We're always on the street, we're not always at home, so we find ourselves eating out quite often. The fact that we were able to find a really nice, clean place to live in Lakewood Ranch for under $2,000 a month has been incredible. And we really got fortunate that we found this place because under $2,000 a month right now, with the cost of living in Southwest Florida and Florida in general, you're almost pushing bad areas. And the place we got isn't too small. It's a one bedroom, but it's a very spacious one bedroom apartment. It's very luxurious. It's very nice. The price tag is under $2,000 a month out the door of utilities. That's almost impossible in Florida right now, especially for an area like Lakewood Ranch. So all the extra homework that we did by shopping around different cities and comparing prices helped us find the perfect housing situation. And I kid you not, it took months of preparation to find a place that was affordable, good, safe, and clean. It wasn't an easy decision. It took a lot of footwork. We were exceptionally fortunate to find the deal that we found when we found it, and we'll be in a new apartment. In Lakewood Ranch, things have really worked out for the best. When you compare the price that we got here to some of the other things we saw, we're even at the situation where it is even less money than some places that we saw that were actually pretty sketchy. So things worked out great. One of the things that I like about Lakewood Ranch is proximity to large cities like St. Petersburg at 35 minutes, Bradenton at about 15 minutes, and Sarasota at about 25 minutes. So we're going to be close to 3 large cities. And of course, if there's no traffic, 45 minutes to Tampa. So we are really in a great place. We're about an hour from Lakeland as well. Overall, we couldn't ask for a better general location. From Lakewood Ranch, we can be at any of these large cities. And with Uber getting really bad and tourism being horrible in Florida right now, it's good that I can choose to go to St. Petersburg, choose to go to Clearwater, Sarasota. There's so many different options. Whether I'm working Uber or my YouTube channel, I can always go to different cities and find different opportunities to keep our income flowing. As you guys know, most of our family is in Southwest Florida, the Naples and Fort Myers vicinity. And down there, not only are rents expensive, but opportunities are limited. You're not going to make $50 or $60 on Uber in Fort Myers all day. It's just a horrible market down there. The fact that I can easily scrape up the rent money while Uber driving up this way means that life is just that much easier. Down that way, life is a struggle. Pay rate is horrible. Everything is expensive. Living in a city like Naples, eating out at restaurants, you'd practically have to be a millionaire. I mean, my friends in Naples are telling me that right now, if you walk into a restaurant in Naples, you can expect to spend between $97 to $150 for 2 people. And me and Katie can eat out over here for $30 or $40 if we hit the right Latin places. So it's official. We're going to be staying in Lakewood Ranch. This will be 4 years of living in Lakewood Ranch by the time our lease expires at the new place. And that right there kind of indicates that we may be in this metropolitan area of Tampa for a lot longer than just a year or two like we thought initially. I'm also starting to fall in love with St. Petersburg and Tampa, Pinellas County and Hillsborough, which means that it seems like this area up here, Manatee County, Hillsborough, St. Pete, Pinellas, Sarasota County as well, this area is starting to feel more like home than Fort Myers and Naples because there's an abundance of opportunity here that we never had down there. On top of that, the community reception towards us, especially with our YouTube channel, is superior here than it ever was down there. People down there simply did not like our YouTube channel. A lot of people there were haters. We're up this way. We just get a lot of love. The community here loves us. It's almost on a daily basis that we get recognized in public, and it's always love up here. People simply love us, and that hasn't been the case everywhere we've lived. When we lived in Fort Myers and Lehigh, it was a little challenging. The reception wasn't the best. In Naples, it was never good. And in Alabama, we practically had to leave the state for our safety. So to find a place where we can be our YouTube channel personalities and be in and about in the community and it not be a problem, and everywhere we go people love us, is absolutely spectacular. And it's hard to give up something that good. We barely even have 200,000 subscribers, and here in this metropolitan area, people see the bounty hunter all the time. Mick Jagger used to live here, and there's just for some reason or another a lot of famous people here. There's a few YouTubers that live up here, like I think Ross Creations is one. I think they're into the millions of subscribers. Then there's the Freedom Factory people. There's the Diesel people. Like there's just like a bunch of really, really famous people that live in Lakewood Ranch and vicinity, or that frequent this area all the time. So with real life celebrities like that living in this community, for me being a YouTuber with 200,000 subscribers, it's a little bit more manageable, and that people here in this community are used to seeing people that are like really famous. So it's not like when I moved to Alabama with 200,000 subscribers in Montgomery, you were the celebrity, and that is a little overwhelming. I think Boozy is known to frequent this area. Plies is always out here from what I hear. I ran into Nino Breeze in St. Petersburg, Florida. Unfortunately, he was getting arrested for violating his probation. That was right after the hurricanes. But you meet like random rich, like famous people out here all the time. I was just down in Naples last time, and I was in traffic with one of the island boys was in traffic with me. So it's like a normal thing to like meet celebrities out here. There's a lot of famous people. On top of that, in Sarasota, they have that Siesta Key things going on. There's that 1-800-ASK Gary lawyer. I think Jerry Springfield used to live here in Sarasota, and some of his family members are still around and stuff like that. So like, it's one of those places where like there's so many celebrities here. It's not like a Hollywood or an Atlanta, but like there's enough famous people here to where like I can just be like under the radar. I'm not the focal point of like celebrity status out here, and that feels good. I mean, I'm up to 1,700 rides on Uber, and 3 of them have been fairly notable people, maybe 4. So yeah, there's a lot of famous people out here, and people that have like, and not that I care for that, but like me being a YouTuber with 200,000 subscribers, if I were to move to a small town like Arcadia, it would eventually become a problem. And look, being a YouTuber is not easy. I think in the 4 years that we've been in Manatee County, we've had to reach out to law enforcement 4 times for stalkers or threats to our safety because of the YouTube channel. So that's just kind of life in the limelight. It's not easy being the focal point of attention, and there are people that do not know how to behave and that go out of their way to make your life impossible. So unfortunately, that's kind of the downside of having that much of a following, is that some people are always going to be out there to hurt you. It's just unavoidable that as a YouTuber, you're going to have to deal with this. A lot of people like the fame and the celebrity status and being recognized, but they don't realize how dangerous that situation can be. And unfortunately, it's kind of protocol. So the fact that I've had to reach out and make 4 police reports while living here about stalking and other types of safety issues, that's just kind of what happens with celebrities. And unfortunately, if you want to be doing this type of business, you have to deal with that type of situation. And it's overwhelming at times, but again, it comes with the package of being a YouTuber. We've been able to litigate the situation as much as possible by doing live streams in the community, by doing food delivery, by doing Uber driving, and other types of occupations and services in the community that kind of normalize our presence here and to remind people that we are just normal people like everybody else. Kind of instead of isolating ourselves, being out in the community all the time, it just kind of normalizes our presence here. And I think that's what a lot of the celebrities do, is they just go out there and spend a lot of time in the community so that the community is aware of their presence. And then that way it's a normal thing. It's kind of challenging, but it's one of the things you have to deal with. I wouldn't want more people to know who I am. It's overwhelming. But like I said, the reception from the community has been incredibly good out here. I just feel like a normal person surviving like everybody else. And then finally, like one reason that I would really want to stay out here is how good law enforcement has been towards us. One thing that was difficult living in Southwest Florida, Lee County and Collier, is police profiling. You know, they target certain people they don't like, or they mark you as a certified whatever. Or they're always labeling you. Or when they see your car, they put an information bulletin about you and get you pulled over even though you're not doing anything. We haven't had any of those problems while living up here. Down in Naples, every single time that law enforcement pulls up behind you, they have an information bulletin about me, and they pull me over many times without due process, without probable cause, and it really gets aggravating to the point where, like, when I get put over there, I'm not really, I get a little disrespectful almost, because it's enough is enough. I just go down there to visit my dad and visit my family, and almost every time we go down there, we're getting harassed, pulled over by law enforcement. You know, and they don't go by due process, none of that. Law enforcement up here has been incredible, both in Manatee County and in Sarasota County. Law enforcement has been really good about respecting us, not profiling us, and it just feels really comfortable to be here. I don't have to worry about law enforcement here because, after all, I don't have a criminal record. I've never broken the law in the sense that I don't have, you know, any convictions or anything like that. So I'm just trying to live my life and survive, and I don't have to worry about police profiling, something that in Charlotte County, Collier, and Lee County is something that people have to contend with all the time. Up here, I have the same relative safety as I would in Naples or Fort Myers, if not even better sometimes. And on top of that, I don't have to worry about police profiling, which made living down there a nightmare for a young person. Like, literally, law enforcement over here does not bother you. They don't profile you. While living in Naples, it's a constant battle. One of the reasons that I would kind of not want to move back home to Naples and Fort Myers is dealing with the garbage law enforcement and police profiling down there that constantly agitate you to the point where, like, after a while, you become disrespectful, and you've had enough. Like, last time I got pulled over in Naples, I became really disrespectful. I said, "Why are you pulling me over? You don't have a reason. I'm tired of your crap. 2 cameras in the guy's face. Give me the ticket, and I'm gonna take you to court. Even if I lose, I know I'm gonna lose because that's the way the system is." It cost me $1,000 last time I went to Naples over something that wasn't even real. But even if you take a lawyer, they still, it's just, they don't want you there. And I over here, I haven't had to deal with any of that garbage. Like, I'm the problem over here pulling, you know, Freedom of Information Act requests on both agencies all the time. And I enjoy, like, I've actually made, like, contacts in law enforcement over here where they just mutually understand, okay, you're just a YouTuber pulling these videos and whatever. Like, it's different how law enforcement here just does their job. Well, down there, it's like a witch hunt on Latinos, Hispanic, blacks, or anybody that they don't want in their community. So there's a lot of pressure from police profiling down there, and I've had enough of it. Like, that's just, if I move down there, I'm going to make less money. I'm going to pay a crap load of money for rent, and then I got to deal with law enforcement bothering you unnecessarily. So all that would just indicate to me that the best decision is for us to stay here. We're making enough money to live. The community loves us. Law enforcement is there to protect us, not to harass us. Why would we leave just a comfortable situation? It was never our goal to settle down in a community, but things here have worked out so great that why wouldn't we? People here have just been incredible. I feel like this area doesn't have a lot of racial tensions. It doesn't have a lot of social unrest. It's just an area where people are, and, you know, like in Sarasota, there's always a protest for something different. We just stay out of the way when those things happen. But there's not a lot of social unrest. There's not a lot of hate. You know, it's a good area with good opportunities, and we're making enough money to survive in Florida. Florida's a really difficult place to live. So the fact that we've been able to carve out a living here, even through hardships, you know, it's turning into home. And eventually, once our parents get older and we don't have them or whatever, maybe then we can go for an adventure somewhere else. But for now, this area really feels like home, and it's starting to become like a long-term thing for us. I mean, 4 years is a lot of time, so this is really starting to feel like home over here. And another lease signed in Lakewood Ranch, another year at least of us living up this way.